coming from a look on consciousness, how do we manifest this sort of scenario where we're being seeded by like another race? How does that affect our consciousness?
Well, consciousness can't be affected. Consciousness doesn't have any levels or states. Consciousness is through everything. So to make something relative to consciousness doesn't seem logical.
But there's different levels of consciousness and
There's
different filters, different filters for your
There's
consciousness.
self-awareness.
So
You can have awareness through your senses, and you can also have, I guess, something that's probably a little bit more intangible with respect to awareness. Agreed.
Can I just mention awareness? I trained. I did a lot of sky watching at night. Okay, so during that period of time, you develop an awareness, right? Your peripheral vision, your night vision, and the awareness in your environment is all expanded during that. But you've got to train to do it. It's over time, and this awareness, you can expand. I was even able to know there was an aircraft coming even before I could see it. My awareness was even out of my vision even. And now I see the UFOs because I think that there is a consciousness between them and us. If you develop that awareness, our awareness normally is within a 10-foot radius of us, generally, for example. And then the UFOs themselves have an awareness that goes for miles and kilometres. Their awareness is much greater expansion. And now because of their environment for a start,
Okay, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah,
and I've seen them fly so close together, they're flying with the one mind. You've seen flocks of birds and schools of fish. They'll just dart around everywhere and they'll never bump into one another. They have an awareness, and to give a name to I just can't think of it now, but
that's fine,
it is an awareness that's developed. And we can develop our own awareness, and we can make contact through our thoughts to make them appear, what you did. But I've often walked outside and straight away the UFO there, as if they've been waiting for me or know that I was coming out.
We've done that as well. It's called CE5. So it's where you're using meditation that's been designed. And this has been done by cultures throughout history, obviously. This is not a new thing, where you're consciously trying to communicate with other beings, forms, life forces, whatever you want to call it, something else, something tangible. And it's been, you can get an app. It's Dr. Stephen Greer, CSETI, he's the main proponent for this. And what I did a few years ago is doing experiments with this. So you've got an app you get on your iPad. You can use it to, he drones on effectively and gives you this state of semi-lucidness. But what you're thinking about is you're consciously trying to invite in alien life force into our planetary system, so inviting them in. And I was doing this, and the first time I actually did it, I was with one other person up on top of Mount Glorious, and we'd only been doing it for about 10 minutes, and I had the best UFO sighting I've ever had. It was an enormous fireball, and I've got it all on audio. I was doing video at the time, but the video camera actually stopped, but the audio kept running.
Okay.
And I've got this, it looked like a fireball coming at me, and it was spinning, and it stopped, and then it shot across the sky and stopped again, and it was very large. There was a full moon at the time. It was much larger. It was about a third larger than the full moon. And I'd invited that in. Now, I hadn't consciously thought about what it was I wanted to see, but this was a very unusual type of manifestation. So we stopped, and I'm like, talking about it, going, Now my friend,
a little bit of pee again.
My friend wasn't looking directly at it, but he saw the flash at the end. So what happened? It swelled, and there was a flash, and it just went. Disappeared. He saw the flash, but he didn't get to actually witness the thing, which he's very disappointed about. We were sitting, and he was trying to calm me down. So we opened a bottle of wine. We hadn't been drinking at the time, but we opened a bottle of wine because he wanted to calm me down so we could continue, because this was a successful experiment. And as we were sitting there just chatting about the wine, and I've played this, Barry's heard it, but we were talking about it. As I say, it was a full moon. We were sitting on this hillside, and it was beautiful, we were just bathed in this beautiful moonlight. This big shadow of a circle came right from behind us, straight across, probably traveling at about that speed, and carried on. Now, we couldn't see anything, but the shadow, we were bathed in this circle of shadow, and it just
That's
continued
weird.
on.
Oh,
And he just stopped
creepy.
talking, and I just stopped talking. And I said, are we, and he just tried to talk about something. I said, no. Are we going to just talk about what we saw there? Did you just
I'd be
see
like,
something?
I'm going to drink that wine now.
Yeah, and he said,
Yeah.
and he said, well, yes, what we did see was I just saw a big circle shadow just pass between us and the moon. We didn't see anything. The meter was going off at the time. I had the meter switched on for electromagnetic radiation, so there was some magnetic fluctuation happening, common with these sightings, and it travelled on past us. And that evening, we had so many different sights. We'd seen these black objects in the sky. We had all the flashing pulsars again. So this was a process of about a couple of hours that we had this intense flap, effectively. Now, we'd never done this before, and this was an experiment, but we were both focused. We both meditate, and we wanted this to happen. So did we invite this to happen? Were we just manifesting it ourselves? Were we creating this? And if so, why didn't he see it? Because, if we were doing it together, we had a shared experience. Everything else we shared, but that first initial sighting. Now, the strange thing is I was driving home.
Sorry, did the other person not see?
So as I say, he wasn't looking at that area of the sky. It was right there, and he was just looking over there, and he had a hat on, so he didn't see it, but he did see the big flash at the end. So he did see a part of the sighting. And as I say, it's all on audio. So we have some physical evidence for.
I have no objection from someone taking a part of themselves and projecting it externally. I mean, we're all stardust. Okay.
Exactly.
Awesome. I like
fully
this.
connected. Okay.
I'm
But then to
sparkling.
apply I thought that must be a being from outer space.
Well, no, I didn't say that.
Okay, no, that's what we started with in the beginning. Some separation between an apparition or an experience, and then using our imagination to try and fill in the detail and say, well, this must be an alien life form. And I think it's important that we make it a separation and differentiate those experiences.
But
Well, it depends what the object is. Like if you see it's a craft, well, is the craft itself being piloted by?
But are you piloting the craft?
No, being inside, or is it a life form itself? I've seen UFOs up close, and I had a video camera in my hand, 7 golden objects in a V formation.
Don't dispute
went
your
over,
evidence.
and this is the evidence, and I
Don't
thought
dispute.
that they were the creature themselves.
Uh-huh.
That
So it's a creature.
3
like
Yeah.
3-meter disc.
This is
To
interesting.
me, I thought that's not a craft. This is what's going on. That's not a craft containing aliens. That disc is the actual life form itself. And inside it was like you could always reach in and not touch anything solid. It was like illuminated from the inside. And at the front there was a bluey grey part, and I thought that's the brains of the thing,
That's amazing. Let's go into this actually, because I've seen some NASA footage. Now, I don't know if all you guys have seen this classic footage of the NASA where it has this limb that comes off and it gets detached, and it just slowly goes off into the distance. And then as it's going off into the distance, all these things start just going around it. It's classic footage. Everyone goes, these are UFOs, but when I look at them, they look like cells.
yeah, well,
They look like just a membrane with a nucleus, sort of going all around it. And it's fascinated me for years whether or not, like, these are a lot of phenomena is actually like machines, or if it's just basically like animals that live in space that we just can't or don't want to make ourselves believe exist.
A lot of that stuff, this is going back when Mir Space Station was up there, and a lot of that footage was leaked out by a guy in Canada.
Okay, yeah.
And it was a lot of... there was when the tether broke. Remember they had...
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, this one, yeah.
Well, a lot of that, they said they were big UFOs, but in fact they're not. I've done like video analysis, and I've got one
It
up
looks
on
like a petri dish.
Well,
doesn't
it's got
Like-
it's a round dot, and it's got concentric circles, and there's a little notch out of it, and it goes through the tether. Do you remember?
Yep,
Is that the one
yep.
you mean?
Yeah, and it slowly just goes off in the distance.
They call that a disc. Now the tether was only 3/4 of an inch wide.
Yeah, yeah.
But because of the reflection up there, it looked much wider.
Yeah,
And these
yeah.
things, they're debris, close to the camera. because the camera is focused in pitch black, basically in space. So you got a very wide aperture and a slow shutter speed, and these debris close to the camera forms what's called an airy disk, like this thing here.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a small piece of debris way out of focus.
So
So it's similar to orbs.
So there was nothing
photographs.
there really. Is that what you're saying?
There was debris there, but they weren't living life forms. No.
Okay, interesting.
But this talking about life forms, we've discussed this many times. I'm a biologist, and in the air, why isn't that a habitat that's commonly frequented? It doesn't just have to be flying things. We were talking about seeing
this is
things,
right, yeah.
seeing jellyfish type creatures.
I've heard of
ray
dragons, like energy
well,
dragons.
of course.
Oh, okay.
And
That's a good one.
stingrays.
Okay, cool. I'm
Why
going
don't
to
those
listen to the
sorts of
energy
things
dragons.
exist? There's no reason why they're not organic life forms that are terrestrial, and that just because if they live in the higher stratospheres, we're not going to see them very often.
Thanks, guys. Pretty much we're coming to a close. And Gemma,
Yes.
what's happening in the future? And where can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, I've got the show The Witching Hour, so you can contact
Fantastic
me
show.
through. Yep, you can contact me through the 4ZZFM.org.au site. Nick's Full Moon on there, or you can contact me parascientific@gmail.com. I am interested in anything and everything, research anything and everything from a scientific, open-minded perspective.
And ghosts. I want to do a ghost
Yes,
episode
we're definitely
with
going to
you.
do some ghosts.
Yes.
Many.
Barry, how can people get in contact with you?
They can see what I've produced on YouTube, UFO Down Under, the book and everything. Google Barry Taylor UFO, you'll find it all there, or through UFO Research
Yes.
Queensland on Facebook, or my own personal Barry Taylor Facebook page.
And where can people grab a copy of your book?
Well,
Again.
you do a search and you can just free download it.
Free
And the name?
download,
You got a
it's
name
great.
drop.
It's UFO Down Under, how to see UFOs and photograph them.
And photograph them. So, do you have to be an amazing photographer?
No.
No.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Just
I'm in.
Just set your
I'm
camera
in.
properly.
I'm in. And Steve, how can people get in contact with you if they want to learn about the stuff?
Best to contact me through the Conscious Wisdom group on Facebook.
Wonderful. And if you're a Mason, give him a hug. 'Cause he knows.
I'll give you the keys.
Give me the
hug.
handshake.
Sweet. No, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. You put the thing on your car, you don't get arrested. Maybe.
Everything
Secrets.
but the handshake.
Yeah, exactly. So sweet. Yeah, pretty much. If you want to get in contact with our podcast, we're on Facebook, Conscious Wisdom Podcast. We're also on Twitter at Wisdom Podcast. Got that one pretty quickly. No one else got it.
Wow.
Don't understand that one. So if you want to get in contact with us, please go through those avenues. Conscious Wisdom Podcast on Facebook and say hello. Be a guest. Be on the show. Make yourself known. I'm Kris R. Anderson. We've had fun. I've got there's music happening. Oh yes, music. That means we're finished. So thanks guys, and we'll catch you next week. And thanks for being on, guys.